All right, well, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Judy Huch. I am the owner of Oro Valley Audiology in Tucson, Arizona, and it is my pleasure to bring on the team of Unitron. And Dr. Aries Salali is here with me. Dr. Christina Petrides, and Preston Thompson is here. He is my go-to person for Unitron. Whenever I have a question, an issue, he solves my problem. But we thought we'd bring everybody together and talk a little bit about really ear to brain and how we use Unitron to help serve our patients better. And so what is ear to brain? Our ears pick up the sound, but it's our brain that processes everything. And there's different layers that we talk about. There's one, the executive memory. This includes our working memory, and it's needed to have flexible thinking and self-control. So sometimes this is the part of my brain that doesn't work so well. When we have trouble in this area, it can be hard to focus, can be difficult to follow directions and handle emotions. The short-term memory, or sometimes called the working memory, is recent events, anywhere from 30 seconds to several days. The brain is limited on how much it can store. Uh, Most of the research says 5 to 9 items, with the average being 7. Sometimes I think I'm 4, but the new information can bump out other items. So it's just a moment in time. There's only so much we can keep in there. It's kind of our own Post-it note. And I am the queen of Post-it notes. I have them everywhere. But using this, we need to remember and process information at the same time. Our long-term memory has much greater capacity. Um, It contains facts, personal memories, and the name of your first grade teacher, those types of things. Each of these are handled in different parts of the brain. Short term is in the frontal, and then when a memory is fired up from this, it starts making other parts of the brain react, like the cerebral cortex, and that involves our language and perception of permanent storage. And so we'll talk about what cognitive overload is, and this slide really helps us understand that when all of our cognitive functions are working well, we have finite, so not unlimited, we have finite resources that we can pull easily enough from our memory and process what we're hearing. We still may have a hard time dealing with understanding, especially in a noisy place, but our resources aren't stretched so thin that we can't handle it. So if you look there with normal hearing, we have our things in the bucket that we can take from, and they can be equally distributed between memory and auditory processing. So our short-term memory will still kick in, and things that get moved into long-term memory, all of that works well. But what happens when we have a hearing loss? We still have our bucket of things. Everything is going over into processing what we're hearing and trying to make sense of everything. So there's not much of that left to go into memory. So even our short-term memory is affected. So if somebody says, well, honey, we talked about that at dinner the other night. Well, maybe you don't even have a memory of that because all of your resources were taken just to get through that noisy dinner. Um, so what do we look at at Oro Valley Audiology? We go beyond the hearing test with the beeps. We do the beep test, we do word recognition, and we do what's called a quick SIN, and that's our normal battery of tests. The quick SIN is repeating different phrases as the background noise increases, and we do that with every evaluation. But a functional hearing assessment, it includes a cognitive screener. We call it the CogniView. It screens short-term memory, executive memory, our processing speed. But again, it's just a screener. So if there are areas of concern, then we can start working with your physician. We look into areas of loudness tolerance if we need to. We use the test that's called the AZ Bio, and that's more an in-depth look at how we understand in noise. We'll also have the patient rate how much effort that particular exercise takes on a rating from 1 to 5. How hard was it for you? And how long would you stay in that environment? Because sometimes it's so noisy that people just kind of check out pretty quickly, even after a few minutes. There was one person, after about 20 seconds, they said they had had enough. Um, so after we do this with several questionnaires that we give out and go over, our doctor of audiology will then choose a hearing device that will match the best treatment plan, because each manufacturer has their own algorithms and how they process sound. We do real ear measurements. That's putting the microphone down in the ear and then popping the hearing aid on top. And are we getting soft, medium, and loud sounds audible but comfortable? Then we do the AZ Bio all over again and with the 2 ratings. So we've seen people go from, it was very difficult, it was a 5, down to, hey, that wasn't so bad, it was a 2. And they went from maybe 5 minutes in that situations to where they could be either 2 hours or indefinitely in that situation. So that's huge. But we also check to see if adjustments need to be made. If there are, we take care of them. We just make sure that the optimum setting is found. And we find even with mild high frequency hearing losses, the effort and time in situations improve dramatically. So there's a lot of changes in our industry right now, but I just really want to point out that there are some things that can't be replaced. You can always find just buying a gadget or a gizmo online. But something that Charles Dickens had said, electric communication will never be a substitute for the face of someone who with their soul encourages another person to be brave and true. So that's what we strive to do here at Oro Valley Audiology. And so I invite Unitron, and they're going to go through, because they align. I like to do business with manufacturers and companies that have the long-term vision of helping and giving back, because as you know, we have our nonprofit Grace Hearing Center, and then we do trips around the world, and hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. So I will have Dr. Christine Petritis that will be coming up next. And I know that there's some really fantastic development in Unitron's sound core, which includes spectral speech and soft speech lift with its newest platform, and that platform is Discover Next. How does it help users to move beyond the words?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Huch. And yes, you're correct at Unitron. With our soft speech lift, which we've got a little bit more detail on the next slide, it's been able to leverage our speech detectors to further boost the subtle components of speech. In quieter environments, those are those moments that are like intimate, those really heart-to-heart chats. We don't want to just make all sounds louder. So with soft speech lift, it's designed to increase the volume of speech, those speech words, without increasing those other surrounding ambient noise. And then what we offer up in the noisier environments, where we all struggle the most. And yet it's even more challenge with those who have hearing loss. So Unitron Speech Pro, that is inclusive of spectral speech, it provides optimal speech understanding no matter where the direction of speech is coming from. And so what does that mean for the listener? It's easier to listen, less brain effort, thus less mental fatigue.
And the less mental fatigue is such a huge portion of all of this. So how does, and Preston, this question is to you,
Sure.
how does data logging help consumers know which level of technology is best for them?
Yeah, so at Unitron, we have what's called Log It All, and it's a really good opportunity for the hearing care professional and the patient to have a consultative approach to kind of see what's best for their lifestyle. And so Log It All actually works for the patient to show where their lifestyle is, what they may be missing out on, and how the different level of technologies that Unitron has to offer may help give them a better experience. So for example, this chart right here, Log It All, kind of shows you 7 different environments. And you can kind of see where the solid blue are is where your patient is spending most of their time. And then where the gaps are is where they're missing out on potential experiences where Unitron's technology may be able to help.
So if a consumer wants to upgrade, traditionally they'd have to get new hearing aids, but Unitron has a different option. Can you expand on that?
Sure. Yeah. To your point, traditionally, hearing care professional has to buy different level of technologies depending on what the patient needs. But at Unitron, we kind of make it easier for both the hearing care professional and the patient, where we don't, so to speak, hold their foot to the fire with one level of technology. We're able to kind of guide your patients through different levels for their hearing loss. We're able to guide the patient if for whatever reason they have financial restraints or they're just not ready for the premium level. We're able to at least get them into technology for their hearing loss and then make a better decision once they get out in the real world. So really unique to Unitron.
Yeah, and this kind of brought something up for me is maybe our lives don't look quite the same right now, and maybe it's a little bit quieter, and we end up choosing maybe a DX5, and then next year, maybe by this time, we'll be out in noisier situations and the needs would change, and they would be able to do this upgrade without going through, the whole thing again. And I think that's fantastic. Thank you.
No problem.
And so the whole family now.
Yeah, so it's a really exciting time at Unitron with the Discover Next platform. Just in the sense that it's been a few years since Unitron has had a complete product portfolio, and so what Discover Next now does is bring our RIC platform, our BTE platform, and our ITE platform all on Discover Next, made for all for your connectivity and streaming for both Android and iPhone. So we feel we have a complete line, which should help you get your patients into the product that best fits them.
Yes, and we are seeing a lot more of the rechargeable options, and that has been very nice. And Dr. Salil, you had given me this quote, and I just love it. And people start to heal the moment they feel heard. So we'd like to, be able to do that with each other, with our patients, and I know our manufacturers do that with us, the doctors of audiology, and it's very much appreciated. And my big thing is if we can move kindness forward, and this team has been phenomenal for that, and I thank you. And one of the last things that if you want the hearing functional assessment, you can call the office. You can go onto our website at hearintucson.com. And something else, we are experts in hearing aids. and there's not much that we can't do or figure out. Sometimes we're not always experts in telephone or in the smartphones. And so our partners also give us support, and sometimes the patients call them directly if it's a day that maybe we had to close early or something. But here is all of Unitron's customer support information. And we very, very much appreciate, because you guys have become experts in everything. So is there anything else that any of you would like to add this presentation as we offer it out to everybody who wants to learn more?
I just want to take a few words and thank you for your partnership. Working with your office is so easy, and your staff is goes above and beyond for your patient. So we greatly appreciate this opportunity and look forward to helping you serve your patients.
Well, thank you. And I am going to say Unitron has really helped us in the nonprofit area too with Grace Hearing Center. And it's partners like you that we can reach everybody who can't afford it as well. So I appreciate you all too. All right. Well, please put things in the chat function and we will answer, but we will have this available in YouTube a little bit later as well. And with that, I wish you a wonderful day.